When you place two kids in a room together, by the end of the day, they're already best friends. No interview, no awkward small talk. Just friends. But if you place two adults in a room together, all you'll get is awkward silence. Somewhere between learning how to tie your shoes and learning how to file your taxes, the rules changed. So what happened? Why does making friends as an adult feel like navigating a psychological minefield? Have you ever noticed how kids stare? Like full-on zero-shame staring. I personally find it a little unsettling. But to other kids, it's not weird at all. It's just curiosity and opening. Kids can make friends in 4 easy steps. Stare, approach, play, friends. Done, you have a new friend. Well, that 4-step approach kinda still works. The difference is that when adults do it, step 1 will either get you labeled as a creep or the most charismatic person in the room. As kids, we were all equally clueless, which meant we had zero judgment. Today, the second you try to talk to a stranger in a grocery line, you can practically hear the invisible defensive walls slamming down. It's not that they're being mean. Well, maybe sometimes they are. We all just evolved to be a little more suspicious now. Now you have to get through the defensive wall first before any real conversation can happen. And honestly, most people just cannot be bothered. Not in a mean way, just in a, I work 8 hours today and I still have stuff to do and I just want to lay down kind of way. Friendship takes real effort. The idea of spending what's left of your social battery and getting to know someone new, from scratch with no guaranteed payoff, feels like a lot to ask. There is this concept of proximity. One of the strongest predictors of friendship is just being around the same people repeatedly. That's why your closest friends were usually the ones who sat near you in class, or the neighborhood kids. Well, we actually still have that at work. You talk to the same people every day. You build up this easy familiarity. You complain about the same meetings. You grab lunch together and survive shared corporate trauma. Feels like friendship? Sort of is friendship. But then the moment one of you leaves the job, it's like someone unplugged the whole thing. Because work proximity comes with invisible walls. You're connected through context, not through actual choice. And when the context disappears, usually the connection does too. The friendships that make it past that, pretty much always the ones where someone crossed invisible line. Where you did something outside of work together, something that had nothing to do with work or your shared annoyance at a certain coworker. That's when the context shifts from people I work with to people I actually care about. Another thing is that childhood was one long, beautiful, accidental hangout. Same school, same neighborhood, same bus, same everything. Adult life, however, requires brutal coordination, calendars, logistics. Someone cancels, another one reschedules. And when someone says, we should do this more often, the group chat becomes the graveyard where plans go to die. There's also the vulnerability thing. To build a real, deep friendship, you have to show the unedited, unposted, real version of yourself. But the older we get, the more history we carry. We've been let down, ignored, or judged. It's not impossible to build a friendship. It just costs you more than it used to. And sometimes, life just pulls people in different directions. Different cities, different seasons of life, different priorities. You're not necessarily growing apart because something went wrong. Sometimes, it's just the timing and the circumstance. So, I don't know. Maybe it's not that making friends is impossible as an adult. Maybe it's just that all the conditions that made it easy, the proximity, the repetition, the lack of judgment, the shared cluelessness, doesn't exist by default anymore. You have to kind of rebuild them on purpose. Which means if you actually want it, you have to put yourself in situations with repeated, low-stakes contact with the same people. A class, a regular thing, a group-centered activity that you actually care about. Somewhere the accidental hangout can happen again. Just not so accidentally this time. Which is a lot more work than just staring at someone across a playground. Have you cracked the code to adult friendship? If so, please drop it in the comments. I'd like to know what you think. Then watch this next video. This one is about your brain.